Well, it's not a regular day for a video for me on the channel, but how can I not make a video when, well, some of the biggest real estate news maybe ever in one single day has just arrived for the entire province of British Columbia. And I'm going to tell you what that news is because it's important to you, but what's even more important to you is that you subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on both Surrey, Fraser Valley, British Columbia, and Canadian real estate. And of course, if you need any personalized real estate advice, well, you can always book a call with me right now down below using the link in the description. And although I mentioned it in this previous video, it now looks like it's come to fruition. And all rental restrictions in the entire province of British Columbia have just been eliminated. And along with that, so have age restrictions. Now go back and watch that previous video if you would like some more details, but this hopefully is a little bit more up to date. Now, there does seem to be a little bit of question whether or not the properties that are removed from the age restriction and rental restriction include 55 or 65 plus. I don't think they do, but I did think that watching Global's release of this information is probably the best way for you and me to get this information in, and then I can give a little bit of commentary. So let's hop into the video. Okay, so this is just recent news today, and let's see what they have to say.
And more breaking news. Another big announcement from our new Premier David Eby. Not long ago, he unveiled 2 new measures to address the housing crisis in this province. Keith Baldry joins us from Victoria with more on this. Keith, bring us up to speed on this announcement.
Yeah, another day, another major announcement from the new Premier, David Eby, today tackling housing. Of course, he had this file when he was the Attorney General. He was the Minister responsible for housing. He talked about some of the things he outlined today during that sort of leadership campaign, if you want to call it that, for the leadership of the NDP. So basically, now municipalities will have to establish housing targets in terms of their supply. The housing...
Okay, let's find out before he says anything. Let's find out what that has to do. Okay, so municipalities need to set new housing supply targets. Great. I mean, another policy that gets us what? Nothing in particular. Housing minister has the power to override or direct municipalities regarding housing supply. So they get to say, after you set your targets, guess what? We get to set your targets for you. Rental restrictions in strata buildings eliminated. So let's keep going because this is the most important part.
Minister will also have the power to override or direct municipalities when it comes to housing supply to ensure the numbers are big enough. And rental restrictions in strata buildings are going to be eliminated. That's regarding age in particular, and also rental ability to rent out your condo. David Eby today tackling both issues at a news conference a little more than an hour ago.
It is simply unacceptable that a British Columbian who is searching Craigslist for a place to rent can't find a home, and somebody who owns a condo is not permitted to rent that home to that individual.
Now, I actually don't disagree with that. I actually think that statement is probably a really good statement. I don't believe, personally, as a government entity should have the ability to tell you what you can or cannot do with your own property. Apparently, they can't tell you how much you can rent it for. That's not a problem. But that is actually a statement that I believe should be the case. You should not be able to tell anybody what they can do with their own property. And yes, we do need more rental units as we need more housing, because you'll notice as soon as none of this was an issue, rentals were not an issue until homes stopped selling. As soon as homes stopped selling, well, then everybody shifted to the rental market. And now, because we have a housing shortage, we have a rental shortage. But let's keep going.
It is equally unacceptable that a young couple that lives in a condo and decides to start a family has to start searching for a new home because that strata has a rule that everybody who lives in the unit has to be 19 years of age or older.
Now, that is very interesting. That is someone who bought into a unit or a complex where they knew it was an age-restricted 19 plus, okay? And then at that point, if they do decide to have a family, yes, indeed, they have a year or 2 years to move on, but they do have to go because that is an adult-oriented community. Now, do I think that restriction should be there? No. And to stay honest with myself and my beliefs and what the government should be able to do and shouldn't be able to do, I don't believe we should have age-restricted communities. However, I'm not the only person that exists in this world, I have come to realize, and a lot of people want to be in adult-only complexes. Now, what it was not clarified there, he did single out the 19-plus complexes, so I assume they're being removed. I would assume at this point the 45 and 35 complexes are also going to be removed. However, I do think that likely the 55 and 65-year-old, and there is even some 50s in there, their restrictions will also stay. I do think the seniors are going to get a little bit of pushback here, so they will stay. Let's keep going.
The second bill sets out a framework for how the province is going to work with cities to respond to this massive spike in our population, to make sure that we see housing as essential infrastructure. Housing is a key role delivering housing is a key role for municipalities, and they need the support of the province to achieve the numbers that we need in British Columbia.
So in terms of the housing,
that's fluff. I mean, sure, the governments are going to communicate better. I don't believe it. Let's keep going here and see what he has to say.
Supply Act, initially 8 to 10 municipalities will be identified to set the first targets, and that will start taking effect in mid-2023. When it comes to the changes for stratas, those changes will take effect.
Okay, so 2023 for that one part, stratas will take effect?
Immediately upon passage of the bill, which I expect sometime later this week.
Immediately upon passage of the bill. So guess what, guys? Everybody out there, rental restrictions, rental restricted complexes, 19 age-restricted complexes, within the next couple days, your whole property just changed.
Today, it needs at least 3 days to pass. I suspect it'll take at least 4. So the restrictions on condos are going to end very soon, and then the pressures on municipalities to build more housing starting next year.
All right, Keith, thank you.
What pressure is really on municipalities? I don't know. This is going to be a big change. This is a massive change in strata rentals, strata restrictions. Now here, let me tell you a little bit, and if you watch the previous video, here's what's going to happen. Those rental restricted properties, those age restricted properties, they had no investors in them. None. So they actually kept affordable housing for people that were able to purchase. Able to purchase and live in the unit themselves. In my estimation, even though I don't disagree with the move, David Eby has said renters are more important and we need more investors to house our renters because I'm going to read through the lines here. I think he understands that all of the new Canadians coming to Vancouver particular, let's be honest, this is a Vancouver problem, not a British Columbia problem. All the new people coming to the Lower Mainland are not going to be homeowners. So as that happens, we're going to allow these investors to come in and supply more rental stock because the government has actually made it so bad for things like REITs and companies to provide rental stock that, well, somebody has to do it. And apparently the renters have taken priority over the taxpayer and the homeowner. So I'm a real estate investor. I think this is great. For me personally, for my pocketbook, this is a great move. For anyone trying to get into the market, anyone that is trying to look for affordable housing that they can just get into for themselves, well, the government's doing what the government does. And the government seems to pretty much screw it up all the time. Anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you think this is a good move, I don't think it's a bad move. It's just going to make housing more unaffordable for the people that need it the most. Please go ahead and subscribe. Click the like button if you've learned anything here. Like I said, comment down below, and maybe we'll see you in a couple of days with a regularly scheduled video.